Hello and welcome to your astrological vibrations for Thursday, August 31st, 2023 by Gaia Blooming. I am Mimi and our energy mantra for today is how I be is my responsibility. So, as I'm recording this, we are reaching the peak of this beautiful super full moon in Pisces. I'm literally seeing it out my window over there, just rising faintly on the horizon. I love that I get to see the full moon rise where we live. This moon came with so many energies, so many lessons, and the thing about Astro is like it keeps rolling on. You know, we finished the one and here we are to the next. So I was sitting here thinking about that. I was like, oh, so here we are in completion of the full moon. You know, by Thursday, we're winding down from this full moon energy. And what now? And the song Pride in the Name of Love by U2 popped up on my music and reminded me that we're in our final few days. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday is when it shifts, of Venus in retrograde. And as I looked at the chart, Lilith has moved from Virgo, where she was hanging out, back into Leo to help support the winding down of this retrograde. I do think every retrograde has its importance. I always find Venus retrogrades to be so potent in ourselves, in our world, in our relationships. And Venus is reminding us as much as possible to focus on the love, to work in the name of love. Not just in the name of love, in the vibration of love, in the beingness of love, in the knowingness that love is who you are, in this unfolding over the next few days, to really seek out, sort out any of the shadows that keep you from embracing the energy of love. I love the Rumi verse that's saying your work is not to seek out love, but to seek the barriers that you have built against it. And we have built so many barriers against love. At the end of every scope, I say there's more than enough love in the world for you. And when I'm saying that, I am talking about love relationships, but I'm also talking about familial love. I'm talking about food. I'm talking about money. I'm talking about various abundance experiences, places where your creativity can bloom and explode. There's more than enough love in the world for all of us. And yet, we build barriers to money. We build barriers to receiving. We build barriers to relationships. We build barriers to connecting to one another. And Wolf is like wanting to input. She's going to have to come a little closer because she's a squeaky little thing. But we just got a wolf. Again, Wolf, do you have anything else to say? You going to take over for Mahalo? Is he telling you what to say? Of course, Mahalo, a being of love, would be like, speak up. This is the time to notice what's coming up, what barriers are coming up that keep you from engaging the love that you are. So, speaking of the full moon energy, we have the moon in Pisces making the connections today, although we are having something build that I want to connect into. We are having Mars in conjunct Saturn building energy coming in. So I do want to look into that a little bit. We'll feel that in the background, and that'll definitely be working some of this full moon vibes that we just moved through. But moon in Pisces is making mud today. We have the moon in Pisces connecting to Jupiter, connecting to Uranus, between full moon over and lazy cat. Lazy cat is when we have Pisces, Taurus connection, Pisces, Taurus connections. gives us the lazy cat. So between that and the full moon over, we may be feeling a little exhausted. And actually, that really works with this energy. Mud is cleansing. So we have these cleansing energies. The moon and Mercury in Virgo are also connecting, bringing that opposition, just like the full moon vibe, where we're experiencing reality and still are connected to the divine vision, the divine unfolding, the divine fantasy, the divine daydream. The divine daydream. If I ever decide to be a princess rock star cat, the divine daydream will be my band name. Unless one of you needs to take it, and therefore it is all yours. But the divine daydream, connecting into that, finding the balance between those places. But today feels like a day to be where you can be. The image that I got when I was looking at what's coming in, that Mars-Saturn in conjunct on Friday, is, I think it's a quote by like Lao Tzu or something, but like, you need to let the mud settle. You need to let the waters be so that like, the mud can settle. And I feel like that's up in us from everything that's been going on in the world. And the reactive energy, to go back to my first day of Virgo scopes, where I was like, we need to be, because we are in trauma reaction in so many things. The mud needs to settle. So the mud, what has come up through this full moon? What energies, what emotions have come up? Maybe still are coming up. Just because the peak of the full moon is over doesn't mean that the emoting is done. But we need to let the mud settle. And that requires being. And when the mud settles, when the fears can be quieter, a lot of times that's the place where we can come to the truth, come to the divine daydream, come to the divine blueprint to connect with. And so today, in the lazy catting, in your restfulness, in the full moon over, see where you can let the mud within you, whatever that may be, the barriers of mud within you, settle so that you can connect into a higher understanding of these next steps to take. Just like yesterday, I have this healing card. It's a card that reminds us, hold space in your heart for the unfolding. I just got another wolf peep. She is going to be in here before you know it, like chatting up a storm, letting you know what's up. And I can't wait. We have the abundance card again as well. And the abundance card is always finding that balance between your spiritual self and your physical self. The spiritual reality, which is real, even though so much of it is unseen, and the physical reality that we can sometimes get sucked into almost too much, that we don't hold space for possibility. What is that balance that you need? And I think that Mars in Libra, this Mars in Libra, makes so much sense, in conjunct Saturn. I may have said Mars in Virgo earlier, but Mars in Libra in conjunct Saturn is saying like, hey, you haven't figured this out yet. You haven't figured what your balance is to hold that space for that divine daydream, even as you're living reality that's sometimes the way you like it, and probably more often so many WTF moments, right? There's a balance that still needs to be struck within you in this energy. And so they're working it. It's working it within us. But we have to be and take that responsibility. I like that. What else do we have? We've got some isolation energy. And this is a mental card. But it feels like sometimes we don't think that the universe is on our side, that the universe is working for us, with us. And so part of this being to let the mud settle may be to remember that connection, to remember that we're never alone, that even in that space of nothingness, there is divine possibility unfolding. There is divine law unfolding. And The universe can be like a parent, that sometimes that quietness is not because it's not there, but the quietness is like, hey, I've told you, you've got to remember. Or, hey, I've told you this, like, you got to follow through. So especially if you're feeling that aloneness, this is a call to tap into the deeper wisdom that's within you, because you're not alone and the universe has told you. And there is a course for you to take. There is a path to move forward that is incoming. The final card we have is the Control card, and this is feeling, it's a mental card too, but it's feeling very much letting the windmills of your mind calm down, letting the mud settle there. There is a lot of mud in there. Again, the mud is cleansing. It is cleansing out time. But the control is what we need to learn how to work with this energy, especially if your mind is like mine and likes to run away. It is a runaway mind. So lots of interesting energies as the mud settles, as we come down from this full moon. But take heart. Stay in the love vibe as much as possible. 4 days, 3.5, until Venus goes direct. This has been a very intense retrograde. I do have to say, Jupiter will be going retrograde the day after Venus goes direct. So we'll get a few hours of those planets being like, it's groovy. And on to the next lesson. All right, so that is it for today. You can book a reading with me. Email me, mimiclark@gmail.com. Besides that, the better it gets, the better it gets. There's more than enough love in the world for you. You have the power, and remember who you are.